Archie Smith, Boy Wonder. A tiny voice asked, "Is he the one?" The aliens asked, "Is he Boy Wonder?" They kidnapped Boy Wonder, and they awoke Tom with a fright. The aliens asked Tom, "Are you Boy Wonder?" And the boy said, "I might not, or I am Boy Wonder." The boy was shrunk by the two aliens, and the aliens wanted light so they can see in the cave on the moon. And then the alien said a riddle. "What can swim in the sea, and has two fins and flies?" The alien said, and Tom found out that he was just dreaming.
Uninvited guests. His heart was pounding. He was sure that he saw the doorknob turn. Zach turned and saw a black shadow go into his room. Zach ran to his parents' room and yelled, "Wake up! Wake up!" He heard a moan come from his room. He looked back and saw the shadow again. He heard footsteps. He was going to get a flashlight when the TV suddenly turned on. He ran back to his parents' room, and the door slammed shut right in front of him. He opened the door and saw that his mom and dad were gone. He sees a window suddenly shut all by itself. Then everything was silent, absolutely silent. Zach was frightened and all alone. What happened to his parents? Where did they go? How is he going to find them?
It was a perfect liftoff. The house flew off of the ground on a Wednesday night. The people living in the houses went to church. When they came home, they saw their house lifting off the ground like a rocket. Mom and Dad looked at each other and said, "Now what are we going to do?"
Missing in Venice. Even with her mighty engines in reverse, the ocean liner pulled farther and farther into the canal. Rebecca is on a mysterious trip in Venice to the ocean, and she is trying to find the very special magic crown in the city of Venice. Suddenly, she turned a corner. And as she turned that corner, she saw a big ocean liner crashing into all of the skyscrapers. Rebecca knew that if she could only find that crown, she would be able to stop the ocean liner from crashing into all of the skyscrapers and killing many people. So she turned around and heads toward Justin's apartment. He would know just what to do. Justin's Rebecca's favorite friend in the whole world. Bing, 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 Rebecca knocked. Justin's mom answered the door and said, "What are you doing here?" "There's a problem," Rebecca said. "I need Justin," Rebecca said. "Justin," his mom said. "Rebecca's here." "Yay," Justin said. And Rebecca went in and saw something very bad, and she was trying to leave, but Justin said, "Where are you going?"
Under the rug. 2 weeks passed. Then it happened again. Once upon a time, on a peaceful night, an old grumpy man named Billy was sitting in a chair writing down his deep, dark secrets in his chronicle, until the same sneaky little rat that came in 2 weeks ago creeped in. But this time it went under the rug. So Billy picked up the chair he was sitting on and tried to kill the rat. But right when he was about to swing the chair, the rug sucked it up. After it sucked up the chair, it sucked up Billy. It took him to a different world, but not just any world, a rat world. Billy asked why they brought him there. The one leader of the rats told him they brought him there because they wanted their journal back. Billy told him that it was a chronicle and it belonged to him, but the rat just kept convincing him that it belonged to them. but until he said, "Fine, I will give you my chronicle." But instead of giving the chronicle, he ran away like a bunny.
The harp. It's true, he thought. It's really true. One day, Jackson was walking down the bank of the stream with his dog Max. Jackson heard something in the woods, but he didn't know what it was. Suddenly, Max's ears perked up. There was a long, loud howl. Jackson quickly picked up a stone and threw the harp at the other side of the stream. He missed, but the howling got closer and closer. While the howling got closer, the harp started moving towards him. Jackson was freaking out when he saw that. He ran to get his mom, but she didn't believe him. So he went back outside to the garden behind his house. When he got to the garden and saw his dad, he decided to tell what had happened with the harp and the howling. But his dad wasn't listening to him until Jackson shouted. His dad didn't believe him either, so Jackson went back to the stream and saw that the harp was back where it was when he first saw it. Jackson slowly walked to the harp and took a nice long look at it. While Jackson was looking at the harp, his dog Max ran out of the woods back to the house. After an hour, Jackson's parents started to get worried. They didn't want to let their poor little boy die in the woods alone. They decided to go in the woods and look for Jackson, but he was nowhere to be seen.
A strange day in July. One day, Tommy and his sister went to the lake. Then he started throwing rocks. The third one came skipping back to him. He was as scared as if he was a mouse. And it was a curse, but he did not know that. So the curse was he needed to solve 2 riddles or they would become rocks forever. They had until the end of the day before the curse would happen. The riddles were really hard. They ran home and told their mom. She tried helping them, but all Tommy had in his head was how did the rocks get back to him. Then the rocks started to talk. It told him it was a curse, and it had once been a boy just like Tommy. Tommy was freaking out, and he was trying to figure it out. Time had passed, but they were as scared as if they were watching the scariest movie in the world. They still did not figure it out, even with their mom's help. But wait, something happened.
Another place, another time. If there was an answer, he'd find it there. Billy would always tell everyone to quit talking because Navy and Air Force soldiers could hear us and blast us past Pluto into a black hole. Bob said, "Shh." Brandon said, "We need to get to the Castle of Answers." They were in a mini train trying to get away from the war, and they knew it wouldn't be easy. "Look over there, boys. It looks like we got some escapers," said a voice. "How many?" "Looks like 4. Brandon looked and yelled, "Navy! Bob, steer now! Do you want to be dead meat?" They were getting close to the forest when suddenly Bob lost control and ran into a tree so fast they all bolted out of the train, the clowns shooting out of a cannon, and they all got knocked out. And the train kept going down the tracks without them. They woke up to the sound of a tiger roaring for food. "I don't like the sound of that," whispered Brandon. They all stood up. The tiger was staring at them. "Hi, furry thing," Billy said with a shaky voice. The tiger pounced, but the boys ran to find their train. "Run!" screamed the boys. After running for 5 minutes, they finally found their train, and the tiger ran away. "Halfway to the castle," shouted Billy. All of a sudden, a sea monster appears out of nowhere and grabbed Brandon and pulled him under the water. Billy, Bob, and Brian looked at each other and said, "What are we going to do?"
Mr. Linden's library. He had warned her about that book, but now it was too late. It was Friday, April 13th, 2004. Avery went to go check out some books. She was just about to leave when she saw this creepy book called Letters. Avery said, "I think I'll take this one." Mr. Linden told her taking that book would be a really bad idea, but she did anyway. When Avery got home, she went to go to her bedroom at the end of the hall to read her book when she saw this creepy vine inside the book, and she reached out to touch the vine and when her whole body started to ache. It felt like a million bees stung her at once. In order to stop the pain, she had to go inside the book and solve a riddle. The riddle was, I start with the letter P and end with the letter E, and I have thousands of letters. Can she solve this riddle?
Oscar and Alphonse. Caitlin knew it was time to send them back. The caterpillar softly wiggled in her hand, spelling out goodbye. A teardrop fell from Caitlin's face, and the caterpillars grew and grew. The caterpillars put her into their mouth and brought her to the future. Caitlin sees caterpillars turning to people and people turning to caterpillars. Caitlin screams as loud as she can. She was as scared as a mouse after escaping from a cat.
All the caterpillars looked at her. Caitlin starts crying, saying that she wants to go home. The caterpillar said the only way to get home is to figure out 10 riddles. Caitlin asks what the first riddle is, and the caterpillars say what costs nothing, is hard to find and easy to lose. Thud, Caitlin fainted and did not wake up. When Caitlin finally woke up and thought about the riddle, the words kept repeating in her head. Was hard to find and easy to lose. Caitlin says that the answer to the riddle is a friend. When the caterpillars tell her that her answer is correct, she asks if she can go home. They say there's 10 riddles and she has only answered one. Thud, Caitlin fell to the floor once again.
7 chairs. The fifth one ended up in France. Mary was sitting at the dining table, staring at her plate. The Swedish meal was sweet potatoes, peas, and roasted goose. She and her mother were eating when she felt like she was rising like a souffle in the oven. She rose into the air. The roof came off, and she was floating in the night sky. The night sky was as sparkly as a freshly polished diamond. When she landed hours later, she was not at home. Mary recognized the place. It was a French court. The French court was a crisp white with pillars and tall windows. When she looked down, she saw 2 guards, swords ready for anything. They were wearing dark green shirts, black pants, and big black boots. As the chair grew closer, one of the guards yelled, "Halt!" But an older man stopped him from getting closer with the sword. The older man was wearing a red cape and a white shirt and black pants. His face was as kind as a father's. The man said, "Hello, my name is Charlie. Can you please come with me?" So Mary followed the strange man into a hallway. The hallway was a light cream color, and all the walls were covered with strange-looking chairs. Then Charlie led her to a room. The room had a desk and 2 chairs, and the walls were blue and covered with books. Mary sat at Charlie's desk. The first thing he said was, "You were chosen by the chairs. You are the one." "What?" Mary asked. "I can explain," Charlie said. "You just have to solve 7 riddles and you will return home. This is your first riddle. You can't buy it, but it is better than gold. You can lose it, and it's loyalty to having one. If you don't treat it right, you will end yourself with a fight." As he finished, Mary was thinking, how will I ever get home?
The 3rd floor bedroom. It all began when someone left the window open. Tom is an 11-year-old boy. One cold winter day, Tom was sitting on his couch playing a video game. Soon he looked out the window, then back at his video game. He looked at one of the birds on his game. Suddenly he gasped. There was a bird peeling off the wall. It looked like it was coming to life. Everything started moving around in circles. Suddenly Tom realized he was inside his video game. He freaked out and had no idea what was happening. Tom walked around the room, then he remembered the bird. He looked back at the bird, and it was flying toward him. Tweet, tweet, the bird flew over and landed on Tom's shoulder. He was frightened because he had never been that close to a bird before. Tom's heart was beating so hard you could hear it from a mile away, and his hands were trembling like a flame in the wind. The bird said, "Hello, my name is Clover. You have to find 3 keys today, or else you will be stuck in this video game forever, just like me." It seemed like Tom had a million thoughts, but the only clear thought was, how am I going to find 3 keys today and get back home?
Captain Torrey. He swung his lantern 3 times, and slowly the schooner appeared. Tommy couldn't believe his own eyes. The boat had appeared out of thin air. A man stepped out of the boat and greeted Tommy. His name was Captain Torrey. He took Tommy to the deck and helped him onto the boat. They sailed into the dark, wet fog. Suddenly, Tommy felt the boat start to rise. He felt like a balloon floating into the sky, and the next thing he knew, he was 10,000 feet in the air, looking down over cities and farms and villages. They looked like tiny little Lego houses. After what seemed like hours, they landed back home. But Tommy quickly realized this was not the home he had left. He saw flying cars, robots, tall weird-shaped buildings, people walking on sidewalks in the air, and people with jetpacks. Suddenly, Tommy noticed that he was in the future. He was jumping up and down with excitement. This was a big chance for Tommy to try things he'd never even imagined, like driving a jet-powered scooter or riding a floating sidewalk. Then Tommy stopped. He looked around. "I wonder what my house looks like now," he thought. He headed up the road towards home, 50126 Springville Street. When he looked, his house wasn't there. "Where's Mom? Where's Dad? Where's Aunt?" he thought. "How am I ever going to get back home?"